Hello everyone, this is George from Pageant, Empress, and today we have Miss World Bolivia, Vanessa Kraljevic, who is competing at the 73rd Miss World Festival in 2026. So good morning to you, Vanessa.
Hello, guys. Good morning. Thank you, George, so much for the invitation. It's really an honor and pleasure for me to be here.
I was looking at your profile at the Miss World website. It says you're only 23 and you have achieved so much. It says that you have done religion, politics and science and society from the prestigious King's College London. So what inspired you to study this course at one of the best universities out there?
Well, first of all, I did a summer course in the UK when I was
Right.
16. It was 2-week course. Absolutely fell in love with the culture, with the architecture, with the old Victorian buildings. So that made me want to study in the UK, specifically in King's College London. It's such a great opportunity. It's a very prestigious university. So I was very excited, and I did religion, politics, and society because I'm a truly very interested in other people. I love to hear about stories, different cultures, different backgrounds. All of that can make us similar and different at the same time. So it's because I'm a very, very curious person.
You represented the British community of Bolivia in Miss Bolivia beauty pageant. So can you tell us a little bit about your background? Did you grow up in Bolivia or did you grow up in the UK? A little bit about your childhood.
So I grew up in Bolivia until I was 19 years old. Then I moved. I finished my first degree in religion, politics, and society at King's College London. So when I was invited to participate in Miss Bolivia, I was still living in the UK. So, and in Miss Bolivia, there is a means that it's called Miss Residente. So it's a girl that represents all the people living abroad. So in my case, I represented all the people living in the UK, all the Bolivian people living in the UK. It's a wonderful experience. It was also the first time that was done that specific title. There was Miss Residentes as representing all the international Bolivians, like all the Bolivians living abroad. But in my case, it was a bit more specific because there were two of us. So I also was able to learn more about the Bolivian community living in London. I was able to go and check the food, check my own culture in London. So that was a wonderful, wonderful experience, truly.
Oh, that is so beautiful that you got in touch with both the and of course the Bolivian people living in the UK as well. So I think that is such a beautiful way to almost having like a culture exchange program, even though you already know Bolivian
Exactly.
culture
Yeah,
so well. It's like a
exactly.
diaspora, right? Like people who live in London. I just want to take you back a little bit, a couple of months ago, as you won Miss Bolivia. So what inspired you to join the Miss Bolivia beauty pageant, and what does this title of Miss World Bolivia mean to you personally?
Okay, to be honest, I don't think I was ever dreaming about becoming a beauty queen itself. Since I was very young, I was always interested in Model United Nations. I love to give speeches in public. That was one of my biggest passions. And I was volunteering actually since I was 13 years old. I always wanted to make a legacy, give something, a bit something to others, to the world. So I was really never that into pageantry. And when I started investigating more about Miss World, I realized so many things. First of all, they have raised more than $1.5 billion to help children, to help the most vulnerable, those in need. They have done so much great work all around the world. In head-to-head challenge, for example, they give you a moment where you can truly speak about your life, inspire others, talk about your advocacy. They treat you in a way that you are respected, not by the way you look, for what you say and how you think. I totally thought that that was something that 100% aligned with the person that I am, with all my mission, all my purpose throughout my entire years. And I've always wanted to be a leader, inspire others by my story, because everyone has hardships in their lives. But I want everyone to know, regardless of those hardships, you can still do great things and you can still be more grateful for the things that you have. So I just thought that it's a pageant that truly aligns with the person that I am, with my values, with my core mission. And that's why I'm here. And that's why I'm so excited to participate in Miss World.
That is so beautiful that you mentioned about Beauty with a Purpose, which I believe is one of the most important pillars of the Miss World Beauty pageant. See it as a festival, like Madam
Exactly.
Julia says, celebrating people from different backgrounds. Can you please talk a little bit more about your social advocacy? I did had a look at the Miss World website. I believe it is called The Right to Real Education. So what was the inspiration behind your social project?
Well, I lost my dad when I was very young. He had sclerosis and amyotrophica, amyotrophic sclerosis. So it's a disease that has no cure. Your body, your whole body stops moving at some point and only your brain works. So eventually he passed away. Regardless of the hardship, as I said before, it was hard. Yes, there were moments in my life that I was wondering, why did this happen to me? But I also became very, very grateful because I realized of the wonderful mom I had. Very strong. She's a lawyer, so she taught me since a very young age, create justice, not only for myself, but for others. So I think that because of her, I have a very strong personality where I can raise my voice when I see injustice. One day, I did a volunteering experience when I was 12 years old. I went to give food, to serve food and also clothing to a community that was very, very vulnerable, 2 hours away from the city I live. It was around 2 hours. And there was a lot of scarcity. George, I met children that didn't only lose their dad, they also lost their mom. And some of them were even abandoned by their own parents. They were living with their aunt, with their grandmother. I saw that these children were so resilient. They used to wake up like 5 a.m. to work and bring food to the table because a lot of them, they were living or being raised by elderly people, because they were not their parents. They also took charge of their own sisters, brothers, little sisters, little brothers. And when I saw this resilience, I realized that these children, they want to have a better future, but they don't have the tools. They are somehow alone in this world. From the place I am, I feel both that I am empathetic towards them because I kind of understand them probably a bit more than others. And at the same time, I'm in a position where I can be part of the change. So since I was 12 years old, this project somehow started. And first we started organizing the model of United Nations. We did like a thing of scholarships where we would invite other children from all backgrounds. We would serve food, we would give transportation so that they could come. They would learn about laws, they would learn about international things, international diplomacy. That was when my passion began. That was public speaking and also advocacy. Then I went ahead to study law. And when I moved to London, I kind of left it behind for a couple of years. And then I started to feel very, very empty. And I didn't understand why, like you live in London, such a great university, you have beautiful friends. And then one day I asked to myself in the mirror, are you making the little Vanessa proud? And the answer was clear, no. Because that 12-year-old Vanessa, she really wanted to make a difference. She wanted to leave a legacy. She wanted to change the world. That's when I retouched the project. I started working very hard on it until we went to a point to be able to present it at the British Parliament. And this was a turning point in my life, the first time after a very long period of time, where I felt that the little inner child I have inside of me was truly proud because I was making a difference. I was leaving a legacy. And that's when I realized that my value is not in my looks, it's not in my titles, it's in the legacy I bring to the world. And since that moment, much happier with my life, with everything. And that's how it started. So when I presented at the parliament, it was initially to give children legal education because I think it's fundamental to know your rights so that you know to speak up when you see an injustice, and that girls know how to be strong. They face difficulties in life. And over time, because this platform of speaking at the British Parliament opened the doors for us, it gave visibility and credibility to the project. Then we received technological education from an international company. So they are giving us 20,000 educational kits in technology for children in vulnerable communities. I think that technology is not the future of the world, it's the present of the world. And today, everyone is so aware of social media, of everything. But I want to, instead of children crawling in the media, ChatGPT is, I want to empower them so that they learn to use technology and not vice versa. I don't want technology to use them. Another alliance with children villages. So they are providing us with technological devices so that children can access to this education, so that they can have also books, they can have things to write and all of that.
They have
So yeah, that.
Yeah.
So yeah, this project was born because I think that I am here and I'm able to raise my voice, and I was able to do everything I made because my mom always advocated so that I have a good education. She always put that first, regardless everything, regardless all the hardships that she went through, because I know it's very hard to lose your husband when when you have a 2-year-old baby. So I know that she went through a lot of hardship, but she truly worked very hard to give me the education I have today. In fact, she's the reason I'm speaking in English, you know.
Oh, that is so
She was
beautiful. Yeah,
yeah, she didn't learn English, so she was like, my daughter has to learn, and here I am. Here I
that
am,
is
thanks
so
to her and thanks
empowering
to
to hear
education.
that. Yeah, I think our
Mhm.
parents they sacrifice so much, right? Even my father, he originally he's from Nepal, which is in the mountains. So he was a porter. He was helping like the Westerners, like tourists would come. So he never went to high school, but he was the breadwinner of his family. So he had to like feed like 10 family members. But I can speak English. My sister, she has studied in the UK. So I think our parents have sacrificed so much that even though they did not have that opportunity, they're giving it to us. And now, us, the offspring, we're giving to other people. So I think you're doing such a beautiful job of helping so many people in villages, right, remote parts of Bolivia. You have already achieved so much, and you have lived in both countries too, in the UK and in Bolivia. What do you think are the biggest challenges, especially the young women who live in Bolivia, which we know it is still a thriving country, but it could have so much potential, right? So, as you have lived in both places, how do you think you can help those people? I know you talked about education, technologies, but especially for young Bolivian women, what do you think is the biggest challenges that they're facing?
Bolivia is a beautiful country. We're still developing. It's normal, it's valid. And I would teach them what I think that made me a strong woman, to raise my voice and about laws, and that there are laws that protect you, that no one can just harm you and go away. I think that's one of the big issues that women have to, since a very young age, they need to know that they are protected. I think that protection is what it makes girls confident, so that they can then achieve their goals and even dream bigger. That's what I did. And also to have a role model. In my case, it was my mom. I always saw her as strong women. So I think it's also important to have a role model who is intelligent, who advocates for others, who is seen as a strong woman and empowered. So I think those things are essentially which I'm trying to do as well in my social project.
From what I can hear, especially through your Beauty the Purpose project. And like you said, Bolivia is known for its diversity, its beauty, its incredible heritage and culture. So, as a Miss Bolivia, how would you like to represent your country at the Miss World Festival, right? It is like the biggest festival we have in terms of pageantry. How would you like to
Yeah.
represent Bolivia and the Bolivian culture in the Miss World Festival?
Bolivia has shaped me as the woman I am today by just showcasing my real self, my real values, and the person I am, the person you're seeing. This is what I am exactly. I think I'm able to make a good representation because my country has made me the person who I am, and the way I speak and the way I'm passionate about life, the way I'm passionate about education. It's all thanks to my country and to all the good and the bad things I saw.
I do not really know much about Bolivia, but I believe you have an international pageant, right? Is it Reina
Reina
Hispanoamericana? Is
Hispanoamericana,
that
yeah,
based? Yeah, I've seen a couple of videos. It's based in Bolivia, right? Is that
yeah,
correct?
it's actually based in
Okay.
Bolivia.
Yes.
It's my national director
Oh, right.
who
Okay. That we have the
organizes
same
it, so
ownership. Okay. Yeah.
it's very nice.
Yeah. After watching the pageant, I know a little bit about Bolivia because since I live in the other side of the world, I do not have access as much as I would love to know about Latin America. So I think Bolivia, just by looking at the pageant, you have great production. You have such great things to offer. So hopefully we see some part of that. Yeah.
You know, we actually have the biggest salt desert on Earth.
Really? I had no
Yeah,
idea.
so
Yeah.
yeah, everything is white.
Right.
It's white. And when it's raining season, there's like a thin layer of water.
Right.
So it looks
Oh,
like a gigantic mirror. Imagine you're in a gigantic mirror and you can see the reflection of the
oh
sky
wow.
in the ground. And this goes infinitely because it's desert, you know.
Right.
And at night, because there is no pollution because it's a desert,
Right.
um, it's one of the best places to stargaze. You can see the sky full of stars, every little star. The entrance to Milky Way is so clear, and you feel like you're part of the universe. It's called Salar de Uyuni. That Salar de Uyuni is the most stunning scenery I've seen. It's just out of this world. So we have that. Other side that is
Right.
nature. We have the Amazonian jungle, which is like 20% of the world's lungs. Yeah, we share it with our neighbor.
Right.
And I think it's also one of the most gorgeous things I've seen. I don't know if I'm saying this because I'm Bolivian, but I'm a big nature lover. Have more tourism. And that's also something I want to achieve in this world. I hope that more people know about my gorgeous country because it's really
Right.
a gorgeous country, and they can feel thrilled to come.
Yes, I think you should definitely promote the ecotourism of
Yeah,
the country, right? You say this is so beautiful in
yeah.
biodiversity. So I think that could be a great way, and maybe I don't know, do a photo shoot or something to promote. I think you talked about the desert. I haven't seen it, so like you need to show us you going to that place
Don't
and
worry.
yes.
My introduction for Miss World, we already did like a
Oh,
photo
okay.
shoot, not photo shoot,
Oh,
like the videos in the Saturday. And it's absolutely wonderful because it looks like a movie set.
wow.
It's made with
Sounds beautiful.
artificial
Yeah.
technology. It's beautiful. You're gonna see.
Okay.
I'm sure you're
So
gonna
you have
love
already
it.
shot it.
But
It's just about to be published in a couple of weeks or a couple of months from
exactly.
now. Once you are the national title holder of Miss Bolivia World, how do you balance your professional life and also personal life?
One of the things I love doing the most is working on my social project, which was way before I even started in pageant. Like Miss World is a place that considers a lot your beauty with a purpose. In that case, I'm already thankful that I don't have to balance it. I can just continue with my normal life, and that will somehow help me as well in the pageants. When I was very young, I used to sing in a singing TV show when I was really little. And when I was in London, I started learning the piano. So I play a bit. That's other thing that I don't really have to learn something from zero. Head to head, well, it's my biggest passion. 3 days ago, I did a TEDx. I was practicing somehow for the head to head. So thankfully, I'm in a place, Miss World, that aligns with the core of my being. So I don't really have to learn new things, let's put it
Right,
like that. And one thing that I improved, because before I was a very private person,
right.
super private. All of
Mhm.
my social medias were private. There was nothing about me on the internet. And obviously, that was the big change when I became Miss Bolivia, that I started being public. And you have to be public because, of course, you're representing the community. So you have to be close to the community. You have to learn more about them. So that's the only thing that I had to introduce more in my life. But it's not that complicated for me because, for example, today when I was doing my makeup, I did a live so that they all would see. They
Oh,
would
that's
also
sweet.
give me advice.
Right,
Is my
right.
makeup good? Is it not? Because what is beautiful is that I also found a community that really encourages me to become a better person. And a lot of times I actually want to do good in this world, not because of me so much, but because
Right.
they're so happy, they're so excited. So that was the only thing that I had to incorporate. I think also my studies, law, is something that also Miss World is a place that considerates and somehow is useful. So yeah, I don't think I really had to change many things. Maybe a bit the makeup and the hair before I didn't do
Just a
it so
little bit.
much.
Right, right, right.
So it's 1 hour or 2 hours per day that I have to, pray for to getting arranged. But that was pretty much it. So I'm very
Well, that's
grateful
good.
for
So it
that.
sounds that
Yeah.
you were preparing your whole entire life for this moment, right? Because your education really helped you
Yeah,
with your
pretty much.
communication skills. You're very articulate, very well spoken. And of course, being a
Thank you.
future lawyer, that really helps that you need to have opinions and of course to talk about diplomacy and helping people win the trials. So I think it's fantastic. And of course, I had no idea that you could do, wait, you said you can sing and play piano, right? So those would be
Yes.
really helpful for Miss World. They love creative queens. Are we expecting a piano, a performance for talent or
Ye-
singing?
I've been practicing only the singing. People tell me you should focus on just one thing so that that one thing is more highlighted. But I really love playing the piano. I really want to introduce it. I don't know what do you guys, what do you think? I just
Yes.
need to more
Yeah, just let
comments
her know
about
in the
that.
comments. But I think you're
Yeah.
a great singer. I've seen your videos. You have a beautiful voice. But I
Oh,
haven't seen you like
thank you.
playing piano. That's why I was kind of interested to know. You said
I'm
you like
gonna
to play piano
I'm
as
gonna
well.
post then.
You said Miss World is not a pageant, and I actually agree. I think it's more of a festival, like a lot of people say. So, is there any Miss World winner particularly that you admire or inspires you?
What I love about Miss World is that every winner, they are not the same person. Every single Miss World winner has at least one thing that makes her absolute unique. For example, with Vanessa Ponce de Leon, I loved that she was very passionate. Carolina, she's very natural. She's very always happy, always smiley. Cristina, such an empathetic woman, so empathetic, so kind, sweet. Opal is stronger, very persistent, very confident. That's the most beautiful thing about this festival. Appreciate every single type person, different personality trait. I cannot tell you one because, of course, I've been seeing so many videos of Miss World, and every single winner, I go, she's special. Well, we all are special, but they are unique, very, very
Right.
unique. So, yeah, truly.
So they all give you maybe a part of the, it could be communication
All of
skills,
them.
confidence, stage presence, right? You're kind of incorporating from each of the Miss World winners, it seems. Miss World winners are so diverse, whether it's physical, the background, right? Even the format in Miss World, it is going to be so competitive. How do you feel? Because I think there will only be one from each of the continental group in the final round, right? In the top four. One from the Americas, one from Asia, one from Africa, and from Europe. Do you think it's is it fair to have, let's say, one from each continent, or would you like maybe, I don't know, like Miss Universe or other pageant that they have? It could be, based on merit of performance. How do you feel about the format of Miss
To
World?
be honest, I absolutely love the format of Miss World and the most established pageant, the oldest one. So they know very well what they are doing. And I think it's such a successful place, a successful festival for a reason. So I absolutely respect the entire way it's organized and I adore everything about it. What can I tell you truly?
Yes, I think it's good too because when we see a lot of pageants, sometimes it's kind of dominated by certain regions. So in Miss World, we get to see every continent being
Yeah,
represented. So I think
that's
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 beautiful.
very that's beautiful.
As you are Miss Bolivia, to give a message, it could be for young Bolivian girls or just young girls in general. How will you help them to maybe inspire them? So any message you like to give them?
I would tell them to find their purpose in life. Gives you value, it's not looks, it's not even titles, it's not the economic resources that you might have, none of those things, because one day they're gonna all expire. The only thing that no one can take away from you is how you make others feel and what legacy you bring to the world. And once you find that is when you're gonna be truly happy. I am the person who I am, and I was able to even win Miss Bolivia because I always advocated for education. And I think that that's the most important thing that all girls should focus on.
I think that it is about celebrating our uniqueness, right? Because, like we said previously, Miss World have beautiful contestants all across the world, and not if you look the same, you look so different from each other, but you share the commonality, which is humanity and empathy and kindness, which all the Miss
Exactly.
World delegates promote. So you lived in so many different countries, like Bolivia, the UK. Yeah, two countries, Bolivia and the UK. So what was the biggest culture shock you found the moment you landed in the UK that was like so different from back home in Bolivia?
Wow. I mean, that's a tough question actually, because everything is different
Yes.
somehow. And at the same time, everything is similar, you
Right.
know?
Right.
Because when you start, I mean, we Latin people are known for being very happy, excited
Right. Right.
all the time. I'm always like very energetic, as
Right.
you
Right.
might see.
Yeah.
And when I went to the UK, people are a bit more serious until you get to know them, because
Right.
once you start chatting with them, sharing things, they are essentially the same. They're
Yeah.
also very chatty, they're very energetic. So the biggest cultural shock for me, I think it was that somehow everything that seems different is the same. Because at the end of the day, yeah, when you get to know them, I was just like, oh, you're just Latinos like me.
Yeah.
So that, but
I
besides
think
that, I
I
mean,
think it's
the
the weather,
architecture.
don't you think? Because Bolivia and a
Uh,
lot of the Latin countries are so humid and tropical, but the UK is not. We
well,
barely have summer. So yeah.
that's true. Well, actually, in La Paz, it's
Right.
a city that is very high in the mountains, very cold. It's not humid at all.
Right.
So there are some areas in my country that are actually similar to London when it comes to weather. But yeah, I lived in a very temperate city, and in London there are some months that at 4 it's already getting dark. So yeah, actually, I think it's probably that. And architecture, it's so different. You have the beautiful old Victorian buildings that
Yeah.
are absolutely stunning. And also in Canary Wharf, for example, you have the super tall building. So it's a very big contrast of architecture. That were the two things that I was more impressed about, I think, when I first arrived.
Yeah.
I would say that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think architecture, and also the moment I left the UK, coming to Thailand, obviously the weather is a big reason, but also
Yeah, yeah.
I also think the public transit, the public transportation, it is very helpful. You can go anywhere, and you can still get a bus at like 2 a.m. in the morning, which is something I cannot get in Thailand. Everything after like
Ah,
midnight
yeah.
shuts down. So yeah,
Public transport in London, I really love it. I
yes,
mean, a lot of people sometimes complain, but that is because they didn't
yeah,
live in other countries that
right, right,
didn't have public
yes,
transport. So, how to say, the subway, for example, was so
right,
useful for me to
correct.
go to university. I literally just got to get one station, and then just it was straight basically to my university.
Oh,
So that
okay,
was
it's not that
wonderful.
far,
And
right?
also the streets are very walkable. I absolutely love when streets are walkable. You can walk everywhere.
Mhm.
And that's my favorite part of London, actually. That if you're bored, you just go to the street
Yeah.
and you walk and you see the beautiful buildings, you see a museum, you can enter. History is drifting off the walls.
If you had to say your biggest friend among all the things we just mentioned throughout the interview, what would be your superpower? Let's say, not even a strength, like superpower.
Being able to be a voice for the people and the nature and the animals that I consider that do not have a voice. Justice is my core value. I think that that's one of the most important things for me. That's the reason I study law. So if I had to choose one thing I do for the rest of my life, that would be creating justice, not only for myself, but for others, definitely.
As a lawyer, you want to help people as much as
Yeah.
possible, right? I think that's kind of like a natural instinct that comes being a lawyer. And also, I wanted to know because you are from Bolivia, and I think a lot of viewers who are not from there might want to know more about your country. So, what is one aspect of Bolivian culture that you feel the world doesn't fully appreciate, or they do not know much about Bolivian culture that you feel is kind of misunderstood?
I think the Bolivian people truly, from the bottom of my heart, I think this, that they have beautiful hearts. And sometimes in some areas of my country, sometimes people, when you first get to know them, they are a bit serious. Not in all cities, but in some cities, they are a bit serious, and they are not that ha ha ha, like chatty and happy. But when you have a problem and you need someone to come to rescue you, those people, the ones that are not serious, they will be the first ones to come and give you a hand. So that's something beautiful about my country, that no matter if you're serious or not at first, they will always give you a hand. They're always very open to change. And I think we're very resilient.
Being resilient, right, despite the hardships, and people are willing to help you. I think that's just a great hospitality that I think a lot of people have in
Great
Bolivia, right?
hospitality. And also, I generally think they're very, very hardworking. Very, very hardworking. You find a Bolivian anywhere in the world, and they
Right.
are always very hardworking, and they truly respect the laws. At least that's what I've seen from my experience living in London. Bolivian people are some of the most hardworking people I've met in my life.
I'm like a role play, right? Let's say I'm Madam Julia. I'm making the announcement in the reverse order. The Miss World 2026 is Bolivia.
Wow, I think I would be in shock.
Can you
Oh my
imagine
God,
with the blue crown like on top of your head? Like, have you already like
to be
thought about it?
honest,
Yeah.
I mean, once you're in Miss World, obviously I've been seeing so many videos.
Yes.
So it's impossible for me not to imagine it, it's impossible. And also the people that follow me, I like to call them my friends because
Mhm.
we chat so much. They have been making videos of me with the crown, with
Right,
like
right.
with using AI that's such is crowning me. So
Yes.
like I kind of saw it somehow. So
That's good. You're already envisioning it, right?
it's
Because I think like when you manifest something like let's say a crown in the future, it comes to you, right? The more you thought about it, you plan it that it's your crown and it's something you have worked hard for it, then you will get it. So I think that is something you should definitely try it. Even though it's like AI, I know at the moment it's not real,
I love
but
it.
in a couple of
Yeah.
months. What is the one thing that you're most looking forward to? By the way, do you know the dates? Anything? Has there any be confirmation about the venue or the date?
I
No?
have
No?
no idea. So I'm the same as everyone else. I have
Okay.
no
Yeah.
idea, but I mean, I'm preparing everything like my outfits because of course there's a lot of outfits you have to take. I'm preparing that and everything for February, just that in case it's in whenever it is, I am not in a rush. I want to be prepared. So I think it's imperative to have the outfit.
Yeah, and also that's why I wasn't sure because I was thinking maybe early, maybe mid, or later on in 2026. So I wasn't sure what should I say
No
because
idea.
we just have 73rd edition, right? The next one, 73rd. So that's why I thought, okay, maybe, but I don't know when the date is. So I don't know how you're planning it, you're preparing it, but you're doing a fantastic job of being mentally and emotionally ready for the Miss World Festival. So as we know, pageantry can bring a lot of attention, both positive and negative. How do you manage to be grounded and connected with your own personal values as a beauty queen? Because at the moment, especially in beauty pageantry, it's not the best area. I think there's being a little bit of conflict happening in certain environments. So you being a beauty queen, how do you handle your own values and dignity?
You have a fear until you actually face it. Then it stops being a fear because once I faced it, yeah, obviously there's always going to be a bit of scrutiny, a bit of haters. It's normal. I am very lucky and I'm very grateful as well that I think I didn't receive much hateful comments and I am receiving a lot of support. So that was actually something I was never able to imagine that I was going to receive so much support from my country. And people that I truly consider my friends, they are there for me. They listen to me when I make lives. I can ask them if my makeup is good is bad. I generally think that they are great people that are supporting me out there. I don't even know them in person, but they are there, and even the ones that are. And I don't feel this crown has more of something or less of something. I absolutely still feeling, I feel Vanessa, just myself. Nothing has changed at all. The only thing that has changed is that now my social project has more visibility and more credibility. So I think that was truly the only thing that has changed so far. And that obviously now I have to use a lot of makeup all the time, but not so much,
Right.
a bit more, but that's pretty much it.
Especially when you are not as socially active, right? Like you said before, you're more of a private person, you like to keep things to yourself, and now you're being a bit more visible. It kind of allows you to kind of show almost like a mystery, like Pandora's box. We don't know what we're going to get from Vanessa. She could be, like
Exactly.
really creative, really talented, and the next day she's doing like head-to-head challenge, which is more serious tone, which is a bit more about like politics and your country's current affairs. So I have two more questions. So my second and last question to you, Vanessa, is if you could change one thing in this world through your platform, what would it be and why?
What I'm doing with my platform is what I think that the world should focus more on. That is first education and second empowering vulnerable children so that they can not only survive in this world but truly have a better future. That's what I'm doing with my social project. We're giving them education in technology. That is a very hard type of education to get for the most vulnerable, education in law so that they know how to defend themselves. Because I want to see all children all around the world in every single corner thrive, not only survive, but as I said, dream for a better future and be able to achieve it.
We need to thrive as individual, as human being, because I think sometimes people are so they're running for the end goal. They want money, they want success, but we do not really enjoy the process, the journey to get to the destination. So I think we need to kind of enjoy it. Of course, destination is important, but if you do not really have fun to get to that moment, I don't think you will be ever be content with that success because that's how we have so many stories of rich people not being happy with what they have.
Exactly, because those things they have an expiration date.
Right.
They're not gonna be there for the rest of your life, you know? For example, beauty, if you set all your value in beauty, beauty it doesn't fade away. I don't like to say it fades away because a woman is beautiful until the day she dies. It's beautiful whenever, but it stops being commercial. That's a truth in this reality. It stops being commercial, and you cannot rely on something like that because your beauty can change the next day. So you have to set your value in something really from the inside. So that's why it's important to have bring a legacy to the world, have a mission, have a purpose, and have a passion as well.
Let's say you have won the Miss World crown. What is the legacy that you would like to leave behind as a Miss World winner? And how would you like to make a positive impact in the lives of other people?
All Miss Worlds have been doing an amazing job when it comes to giving an impact. They are showcasing that they can be respected not because of the way they look only, but because of the way they talk, the way they think, and their ideas and the legacy they bring to the world. So I would like to continue with the legacy that Miss World is creating because I think they are doing amazing job. In my case, I advocate for empowering and education. So I would like to continue on that, continue on my mission, on my purpose, and truly be a leader and lead with kindness and empathy, and that other people can truly feel inspired in my story, in my life story.
Being a leader with purpose and kindness and empathy. I think those are the testament of being a great leader. We've come to the end. I had a very nice time talking to you for almost for an hour. So in the end, Vanessa, is there any message that you would like to give to the viewers, your supporters who have been a crucial part of your Miss World journey in the end?
Well, but first of all, thank you so much for inviting me. As I said, this was my first international interview. I'm in a hotel, by the way, right now. If you see people behind, because when you win Miss Bolivia, they give you a hotel where you can stay. So I'm living in a hotel now. Sorry. So, well, first of all, thank you so much it was an honor and a pleasure to be here. Truly, you're wonderful. You're so kind. And to all the people that are watching, thank you so much for watching. First of all, I hope you truly like it. I hope you were able to see a bit more of me through me as well. I always try to be as transparent as possible for you. And yeah, I invite you to follow this beautiful journey on Instagram. I'll be posting a lot of things on Instagram and my other social media. So I invite you to continue checking my social project to be part of this legacy. And also, don't forget to always advocate for what you believe in and be passionate about something and give a legacy to the world.
So excited. I hope we get to know the date because
So
I'm really
excited.
dying to know when it's the final. That's
Me
something,
too. I'm
yeah.
dying.
So,
I'm
but I
dying to
had a
know.
really fun time talking to you, and you seem so outgoing,
Me too.
really cheerful, and I
Thank
think this
you.
is the type of woman that should be celebrated in Miss World Festival. So Vanessa
Yeah.
could be the first Bolivian Miss World winner in the 73 years. So let's make that happen. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I'll see you guys soon in the next video. So, bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.